Benjamin Franklin. Benjamin Franklin. Benjamin Franklin. These men spoke up for what they thought was right. From their courage came such documents as the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States. From their willingness to speak what was sometimes unpopular but right, we enjoy such liberties as freedom of speech, the right to keep and bear arms, and freedom of religion. There are those who still wish to oppress our freedoms, and there are still patriots willing to stand up and defend life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Men like Zeb Bell, who honor our founding fathers and what they stood for. It's now time for Zeb at the ranch, speaking up and defending your freedoms. Brought to you by Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers and all of the other great advertisers on the program. And now, Zeb Bell.
Oh my, what an interesting morning over here at the ranch, and thank you very much. I want to say thanks to Gina, and I want to say thanks to Wheels. We lost our power at about 5:30 this morning, and it was getting a little chilly inside the house, and evidently a car decided to take out a power pole, and so we're back on the air. Wheels, how's everything coming through, okay?
Yeah, you sound pretty good, sir.
All right, sir. Thank you very much. Now, we've got to start with the Pledge of Allegiance, but Wheels, I'm going to have you do it. I never forget the pledge, so go ahead and do it if you would, please.
All right. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, here's what we're going to do, Wheels. Thank you so much. We're going to go right into the weather and then the Burley Livestock Sale Report. We're running a little bit late, so bear with us out there, audience, please. Cheney Flooring and Home Design, 1228 Oakley Avenue in Burley. Look for the blue door. They've got all your carpet and flooring and kitchen construction and home decor items. Everything you need to make your house a home. Boy, oh boy, they are good. Give them a call, 678-6945, Cheney Flooring and Home Design. And right now, here's Gina with the weather.
We are not liking the weather today. Why? Well, because it's windy, it's snowy, and it's icy out there. Going to continue that way throughout the day. Winds out of the southwest right around 22 miles an hour, high of 34. Tonight, low of 27. More snow showers are in the forecast for tomorrow morning, and the winds are going to continue as well. High of 34 with an overnight low of 23. And then for Saturday, well, rain and snow showers mixed, accumulations of an inch or better, but the winds are going to be dying down, high of 36 with an overnight low of 29. Yesterday's high was 40 and the overnight low was 19. That is your weather for Zeb at the Ranch.
Thank you very much, Gina, and I appreciate it. Brought to you by Cheney Flooring and Home Design, 1228 Oakley Avenue in Burley. Hey, Merv May, come on in here. Let's sell some cattle. Are you ready?
All right, a good set of steer calves there, here to $31, 1.5, 31, 1.5, 32, 2.5.
That's the chant of the world's best auctioneer, Merv May, at the Burley Livestock Sale Yard, 1100 Occidental Avenue in Burley, and Merv May, Kay Draghi, and Lance Udy, serving you the sale that always works for you. Sale time this morning at 10:30. Number to call for consignments and sale information, 678-9411. Right now, I'll give you a partial list of what's going through the ring today. Rhett Ward over to Elmo is bringing in 75 head of heifers, and we're looking at Lucky Barn, my goodness, over in Rupert, 50 head of calves going to the sale today. And we've got Stan Harden up at Aberdeen bringing down 20 head of steer calves. And then we're looking at Udy Ranches over to Rockland, 35 head of steers. Butcher cows coming in from Antelope Hills Dairy, Acme Dairy, TLK Dairy, and like I said, sale time at 10:30 this morning. Great trailer line run too at the Burley Livestock Sale Yard, 1100 Occidental Avenue in Burley. Merv, sell those steers.
All right, a good set of steer calves there, here to $31, 1.5, 31, 1.5, 32, 2.5, 3.5, 134, 4.5, 5.5, 135, 50, 135, and I sell them $1.35. Zeb Bell, get the bottom.
Oh, thank you much. We're rolling now. We got power back this morning, and I want to say something right here. Idaho Power, you know, nobody really gives them a big thank you. I want to. to because somebody driving way too fast for conditions, probably. I don't know the entire story yet. We're waiting to hear. Snapped off a pole, and at about 5:20 this morning, our power went out. And I called, and they said, ooh, it's not looking good. It's going to be a long time to get a new pole set and everything. They did a yeoman's job, great job of getting us back on the air. And they're out there in all kinds of weather working for us. Idaho Power, thank you very much. Jimmy Edwards is going to have a birthday tomorrow, Friday. And then I know that I've got to get congratulations out to Jerry and Rose Voss. They're having an anniversary on Sunday. So happy anniversary. Don't forget our friends at Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley, 678-0459, the number to call. They're open 7:30 to 5 Monday through Friday. Now, I can tell you how doggone chilly it is and how much you appreciate a good furnace or heat in your home this morning. It's just getting chilly in here. And, Deanne, if you could crank up that heat on the wall over there just a little bit, I'd sure appreciate it. Don't forget, for all your electrical or heating needs, it's Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley, where they provide warm winters and cool summers. Right now, also, boy, I'm hungry, and the place to go for breakfast, lunch, or dinner, or any time is at America's Diner, and that's Denny's Restaurant, 611 Overland in Burley, or even the new location Thomas has at 291 Pole Line Road in Twin Falls. I don't care what time of day, I don't care what you've got in mind, it's on the menu, and it's delicious. And next Thursday, we're going to be there at Denny's for our lunch punch. Don't forget Denny's Restaurant, America's Diner, 611 Overland in Burley. Calls are welcome and appreciated, folks. I tell you what, as busy a day as it's been, come on, I haven't had a chance to do a lot of paperwork, so I'd appreciate your calls. I do want to make some remarks, and Deanne's checking on the updates on our sailors that were held captive by Iran, and we're going to have some updates on that because there's a lot of animosity going on this morning. Prior to losing power this morning, back both in Washington, D.C. and New York at some of the news centers, we were hearing the animosity against the Obama administration and especially Secretary of State John Kerry, and basically kowtowing to the Iranian government. And I noticed a headline in this morning's paper that really got to me. And this was written probably last evening. Intense diplomacy secures sailors' release. Diplomacy? You know what? My attitude is, and I'd like to hear yours, I don't know the cause of why these sailors in their boats, two boats, had power outages and they were drifting into territorial waters of Iran. Doesn't make any difference to me. But they were held captive. They were made to kneel down on their knees with their hands behind their back like they were going to be shot in the head. The woman that was part of this naval team was forced to wear a head covering like she was a Muslim living there. And I noticed that we also had a lieutenant come out and, for reasons that are not yet known, make an apology to the Iranian government for what happened. Now, this is where I rely on people that have served in the military and know far more about this than I do. I was of the understanding from the people that I've talked to and the people that I've known that when held captive, you are really only supposed to give your name, your rank, your serial number, and possibly your date of birth. And I'll stand corrected if I'm wrong. But I don't know what happened in the coercement of an apology to Iran. An apology to Iran? And John Kerry saying, oh, he's so thankful that it was just easy to work with the Iranian government. What? He thanked the Iranian authorities for their cooperation and quick response. What are your thoughts on this? We are kowtowing and we're bending over to provide Iran anything and everything. And now they're using this and utilizing this information as propaganda against us, whom they call the Western weaklings. Us. The United States of America. What are your thoughts? Come on, give me a call on this, and I want to hear from some vets, please. While I'm waiting for your call, I hope it's coming in. Don't forget, on Tuesdays, Dr. History is brought to you by Minnecasia Sales at 1321 East Main Street in Burley. You stop in and see Zach today. They're open from 8 to 4:30 Monday through Friday, right across from the airport, and they've got all your lumber needs if you're going to be doing some remodeling this winter and spring. All your windows with the Great Western energy-efficient windows. Stop in. Give them a call at 878-2091. Minnecasia Sales in Burley. Really nice people. By the way, also our thanks go out to, come on callers, I want somebody on the phone this morning, Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation. I did it again, I bit my tongue. Rehabilitation, 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley. And simply put, I went in there the other day and talked to Nick, and each and every one of those physical therapists, they really know their business. So please, they can help you feel a lot better, help you get back to being you with all the exercises, hydrotherapy pool, everything. Make an appointment today at 678-1191. Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation, serving you. All right, now it's your turn. Give us a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. We are going to be giving back Iran billions of dollars. We have capitulated to them, and we're giving them back billions of dollars from the sanctions. And they still have at least 5 of our citizens, one of which we have featured on this program many times with his wife, Pastor Abedini, and his wife, Nagne. And to think that they are rotting in Iranian prisons with a lack of medical care, a lack of food, a lack of cleanliness and hygiene, and we are capitulating and giving everything to Iran, and they've cheated on the agreement already many, many times, and then they hold our Navy sailors, 10 of them, hostage, hold guns to their head, make them get down on their knees, make the woman of the crew wear a head covering. I wouldn't give them a damn dime. Not 1 red cent. I say you let those people go. You don't get a dime from us, the United States of America. What are your thoughts on this? Come on, folks. These are our fellow American citizens being held captive and hostage by thugs, punks, and crooks. Give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Don't forget Barry Equipment and Rental. I'm going to have, I think, what did you say, Deanne? Eli's going to be on later on this morning, right? Eli's going to be on the phone with us, and we're going to be talking about much of the equipment that they're going to be cycling out. You know, a lot of the rental fleet, like a lot of the Coyote tractors and a lot of the Bobcat equipment, and you can save a lot of money on this equipment. You'd better stop in. They've got 3 locations serving you. Addison Avenue West in Twin Falls, South Lincoln and Jerome, and 159 West Highway 30 in Burley. The equipment that you need to get the job done right. Barry Equipment and Rental in Twin Falls, Jerome, and 159 West Highway 30 in Burley. Your turn. Come on, everybody sleep in this morning. Give me a call, please. I want to hear what you have to say about this. And what are your thoughts as we look more and more into this story? And I'm sure that there's going to be a lot more written and a lot more discussed about this. One of the remarks, and I very seldom in his senatorial career have ever given him any credit, and that's John McCain of Arizona. When he was asked about the handling of this situation with Iran, it was the first time I've ever been proud of John McCain's responses to the news media. He really blasted Secretary of State, if you want to give him that credit, John Kerry, And then he said, when it came to Josh Earnest, spokesman for the White House, he simply said, he's an idiot. And it's about time people started calling it what it is. This administration, just literally hours after Obama has the State of the Union message about how powerful we are and how well respected we are in the world, and we're the nation's and the world's #1 powerhouse. And then we kowtow to the likes of Iran? Where are the veterans? Give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I just can't believe this is happening to this country. And then, to make matters worse, Guantanamo Bay. I would like somebody out there that disagrees with me, and we can have a very, very nice discussion, your opinion, my opinion. Give me one good reason why. One good reason why we should close Gitmo. Give me one good reason why we should be letting these absolutely worthless human beings that want to do nothing more than maim and kill, why should we be turning them loose? And then give me one good reason why, after they close Gitmo, we should even consider bringing them, the bad guys, here to the United States. Right now they are looking at Colorado. And they're not looking at that great big new detention center. They're thinking about a prison that has never been used, that was finished and not used or utilized. And estimates from some of the senators from Colorado have said that by the time they go in there and make that prison possibly foolproof and escape-proof and terrorist-proof, it'll cost a whole lot more than leaving Gitmo open. Your thoughts, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Please, after the morning we've had getting things on the air, come on, give me a call, 436-2244. Don't forget, while I'm waiting for your call, I want to talk to you a little bit about Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. Oh, my goodness, 312-0957. That's the number to call. And they're located across from the Minidoka Memorial Hospital emergency room and waiting to serve you. The lovely Dr. Christine Pickup knows all about hearing, knows all about what might be causing your loss of hearing. So arrange for a hearing screening today. Very important. Call at 312-0957. Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids, waiting to serve you. Once again, calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. They are going to be releasing 10 more very bad guys out of Gitmo, and they're probably going to be leaving today. And I was listening to my friend Catherine Herridge. She is the terrorist expert on Fox News. And she said that the news media, some in the news media, have been asking the White House where these vermin are going to be dropped off. Where are they going to be put? What countries are they going to reside in? What are the safety valves that they will not be funneled through different individuals and terrorist means to get them almost back on the battlefield immediately? And the White House is not giving any of that information. You know, in this land of the free, home of the brave, where we are supposed to be a open, transparent society of honesty and know what our elected officials are doing, we don't know anything. We're not being told anything. And these killers, and all of them have ties to Al-Qaeda and ISIS. All of them do. They're going to be going back and taking up residency someplace to bomb, kill, and maim us again. Caller, thank you for breaking the ice. Good morning, you're on the air.
Well, good morning, Zeb. All those other military people, veterans, must still be at morning calisthenics.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I watched that coverage of that event over in Iran, and one of the first things that I'm thinking is how does both of those boats simultaneously fail and run aground at the same time?
Excellent question.
Suspicious.
Yep.
And then, they said that those boats had heavy weapons on them, and, they were armed. Well, that didn't make any sense for them just to give up like that.
Yeah.
I would have thought if you'd have just ripped a couple of 50s across the bow of that Iranian boat, they'd have probably run away.
There's so many unanswered questions, and I'm certainly glad you brought up what you did. I mean, power failures, supposedly they were adrift, and then, of course, after they were captured, they were made to kneel down. And by the way, and again, I'll stand corrected on this, but I think I'm right on this, that if a country uses captive pictures, photographs, or videos for propaganda, that is absolutely against the Geneva Convention, and liabilities and back-atches are deserving of Iran. Am I right or wrong on that?
Yeah, it is against the Geneva Convention to use that kind of stuff, but they don't follow the Geneva Convention.
That's right.
No, they don't care about that rules. Just like they say, no criminal obeys the law. And I did see the pictures of them when they were kneeling down, and the woman that had to wear the head covering, and the lieutenant that gave an apology. Now, that's against the UCMJ. I got a feeling that they were probably coerced into that, something maybe like, you guys, one of you guys apologize, and we'll let you go.
Yeah, but here's what I want to throw in there at what you just said. Yes, I listened to that apology numerous times. And I got to thinking, now, was there coercion there? Was there somebody standing off camera with a gun pointed at one of the sailors' heads? But then, what really makes me mad is that when asked, the president and John Kerry and his administration said no apologies were given. That's a blatant lie.
Yeah, it is, because the lieutenant is, as an officer of the Navy, is technically a representative of the United States government. So there was an apology given, even though it was probably given under coercion, and then for them to say that, there was no apologies, and Kerry, the hair on the back of my neck stood up when he said that, he was so thankful for the cooperation of the Iranian government.
Yeah.
They got him back.
Who really, in this situation, who really looks weak? Who looks really kind of milquetoast? Who looks like they have no teeth in their mouth, ready to bite back? Tell me a circumstance, sir, in the last 8 years. Tell me one circumstance where we, the United States of America, have put a line in the sand, and when somebody steps over it, bang, we lower it on them like a fly swatter to a fly. What have we done in the last 8 years? Tell me.
There hasn't been any. There hasn't been any instances where we stood up for ourselves, you might say, and then took the punch, punched the other guy in the face, you might say. No, we haven't done any of that.
Let me ask you this real quick, and I want some other callers to start calling in. Come on, this is really important because, quite frankly, we're being played like a puppet, in my opinion. I will say this, and this is speculation, but it's my opinion on this subject. I honestly believe in my heart that if Ronald Reagan were alive and president today, those gunboats from Iran would have turned tail, and all you'd have saw from them is a little wake in the ocean as they're getting out of Dodge City.
You mean the Iranian gunboats?
That's what I meant, the gunboats from Iran.
Yeah, I agree too, that they wouldn't have. And I was thinking, oh my God, here we go again, another hostage situation like they had back in the late 70s. And I got to think, well, if Trump's elected, the day he's inaugurated in, they'll let them go, like they did with Reagan.
Well, I'm just so upset at why we have like Pastor Abedini and the businessman and the other soldier and those 5 individuals that are being held hostage and prisoner and captive over there, and absolutely in desolate, destitute conditions. Why in the world would we hand Iran a check and say, here, oh yeah, here's the United States handing you money, here's the taxpayers supporting Iran? I wouldn't hand them a dime. The only thing I'd hand them is a grenade with a pin pulled and say, you've got till 5 minutes from right now to let those people go.
Yeah. There's also been, it's not for sure yet, there's also been speculation by some of these so-called experts that said that the Iranians basically took the high technology electronics out of these boats. Yep. And I wouldn't be surprised if they, along with the Russians, reverse engineer them, and steal the technology.
I got to sit here this morning and I got to tell you that I'm not proud this morning of anything going on from this government. I'm not proud at all. And I know some people are going to say, whoa, wait a minute. No, I'm not. I'm not proud of the way this government is treating not only us here in this country with a lack of security, a lack of really being cognizant of what's going on. I'm not proud of the way that they let our soldiers and our sailors get abducted. I'm not proud of this. It's capitulation, and I don't know what your thoughts are and what your words are, but I absolutely am not proud of the way we're doing anything.
Well, I'm not proud of this current government either, especially the fearless leader. And that's a joke, by the way.
Yeah, I know it is. Yeah. Hey, listen, I got to do a commercial break. I appreciate your call. I really do. Thank you so much. All right.
Glad you're not freezing anymore.
Okay, thank you. Come on, callers. This is important. These are our young men and women that were held at gunpoint, and if you didn't see the photos, I mean, they were made to kneel down on the deck of the boats and on their knees and put their hands behind their head. And the woman of the sailor team was made to cover her head. I'm telling you, I can't handle this. I do not like to see any of our people treated with disrespect, and I certainly don't like capitulation and kowtowing to a bunch of camel jockeys that absolutely are holding us at bay. Come on, call me. Don't forget Redder Showcase. Wonderful people over there. Guy and the crew at 2611 Overland Avenue in Burley. I want to tell you right now, this is a great time to get in there. They're having what they call their winter clearance going on right now at Redder Showcase, and you can take advantage of the one-of-a-kind floor models, overstocked, and scratch and dent models. They're getting them out of there. They're saying, hey, we're going to let them go at prices that you just can't believe. Huge discounts. And they carry Whirlpool, Amana, Maytag, and KitchenAid. You'd better get in there. 12 months, same as cash at Redder Showcase. 2611 Overland in Burley. You stop in and see them today. Well, we had one opinion on that. Calls are welcome. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. How would you feel if that were your son or daughter and these Iranian thugs held them at gunpoint, making them kneel down and act like they're going to shoot them and kill them, make them apologize? The United States Navy. Now, I admit, and I said this earlier, we do not know all the circumstances as to why that lieutenant made that admission of apology. I don't know. I hope we find out. But the left hand of this administration, Obama's administration, doesn't know what the right hand is doing. There were no apologies given. Yeah, there were. And now also thinking about this Gitmo mess, one of the senators from Colorado was on television early this morning before we lost power, and he is absolutely furious that his state would be looked at to bring these terrorists into his state and residence area in a federal prison. He didn't want them there. The people in the United States, whether it's Iowa, Kansas, Colorado, anywhere, they don't want them here. That Gitmo location is absolutely perfect. Surrounded by desert conditions on a little bitty island and a whole bunch of ocean and a whole bunch of sharks. Leave them there. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Come on, give me a call. Another little news note this morning, and I apologize. We're kind of short on news notes this morning because it was dark in here and hard to write. And I did notice that Hillary, of all the stupid things that she has said, and there's been an uncountable list, she came out yesterday and she is a big fan, get this, of Al Jazeera television network. Al Jazeera. You know, it just seems like it never ends in the last months or years to where we are little by little being force-fed that, oh, we've got to accept these people. Oh, we've got to accept their doctrine. Oh, we've got to accept their ideology. Why? Al Jazeera TV is going broke and going off the air. And Hillary Clinton made the statement, why, they've got the best news in the media. Ay. Hillary Clinton. All right, come on, give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I'd hate to sit here and just hum for the next 15 minutes because I'm not prepared for that. Hey, don't forget, we're going to have the weather forecast real quick, brought to you by Mad River Laser at 502 East Street in Rupert, and I'll tell you what, they've got everything. All your business promotional items. You know, I had them make me those neat little wooden business cards. Man, those are great. People like those, and they're not going to lose them either, I'll tell you. And all the pens and all the jackets and all the headwear and the uniforms and the tote bags, they can make and do anything and everything for your business. So please stop over and see Nicole today at 502 East Street in Rupert, Mad River Laser. Here's Gina with the weather.
We are not liking the weather today. Why? Well, because it's windy, it's snowy, and it's icy out there. Going to continue that way throughout the day. Winds out of the southwest right around 22 miles an hour, high of 34. Tonight, low of 27. More snow showers are in the forecast for tomorrow morning, and the winds are going to continue as well. High of 34 with an overnight low of 23. And then for Saturday, well, rain and snow showers mixed, accumulations of an inch or better, but the winds are going to be dying down, high of 36 with an overnight low of 29. Yesterday's high was 40 and the overnight low was 19. That is your weather for Zebit Duran.
Thank you very much, Gina. Brought to everybody by Mad River Laser, 502 East Street in Rupert. You stop over and see Nicole and the crew today. Really nice folks. I noticed that along with many of the people that have spoken out against what happened with Iran holding our sailors, GOP presidential candidate Ted Cruz said the detention of the sailors was a, quote, manifestation of the weakness of Obama's foreign policies. And he said, our enemies don't fear us. And he said, before adding that his prayers were with the sailors and their families. What are your thoughts, honestly? I want somebody, come on, call me and let me know. What are your thoughts on this? Should the Iranian government, number one, have taken our sailors? Number two, should they have held them hostage at gunpoint? Number three, should we have apologized? And number four, should we capitulate and still hand them over all this money without demanding that the hostages and prisoners in Iranian prisons are released? Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning, Zeb. I tend to think, in my opinion, my own formed opinion, that our soldiers are the best and the brightest there are, the strongest, the most brave. And for them to have apologized, I'm sure they were under some kind of duress. But in order for that to have happened, I mean, like you were saying earlier, the last 8 years, the world has seen just what kind of a coward our president is, how much of a lacking of a backbone that he has, and he's not willing to put the foot down and say, I don't think so. You know, either you release our sailors, or we're going to take out, for every one of your sailors, we're going to take out a warship, or we're taking out a base. You know, Ronald Reagan had it right when he, let's see, how many days was it after he was elected president that hostages started being released?
It was a matter of hours.
Hours, because they knew without a shadow of doubt in their minds that Reagan was coming and hell was coming with him.
Yep.
There was nothing that was going to stop him. Now, these guys, nowadays, people know that Obama, yeah, come on. Give him a box of Cracker Jacks, a bouncy ball, and tell him to go sit in the corner and shut up.
I'm not going to.
They treat him.
I'm not going to argue that statement whatsoever. I am just absolutely. You remember, Riley? I'm going to say this on the air, and I appreciate your call this morning. God bless you. Thank you so much. You know, think about John Kerry just for a minute. Think about the man as when he returned from Vietnam. Remember when he was testifying at those Senate hearings, and he was denigrating and really knocking down the United States off its pedestal? Remember how he was just really bitter about the way the United States military conducted themselves and did things in Iran, and he was against this, that, and the other? Basically, he was in capitulation with the enemy at that time. And he has not changed. We have a milquetoast, absolutely jellyfish attitude in this administration. And this man, John Kerry, doesn't deserve to be the janitor in the White House. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Zeb. Say, there's a couple of questions that I would ask tonight at that debate. And one of them I would ask each one of those fellows up there, what would you have done if you would have been president and this happened on their watch?
You know, Dwayne, what you just said, and I want to compliment you on that, you took the next line question that I had written down this morning. I honestly agree with you, and I compliment you on that. I had a note here that said, ask if each and every candidate at the podium, what would they do under the similar circumstances? I think you're absolutely spot on. People need to know. People need to see and hear what these people would do, because we know what the likes of Hillary would do.
Right, and then again, I hope the people are smart enough to analyze the answers that they get, and if it fits the candidate that is answering it. Now, you know, if Carson was to say, I'd go in there and bomb them and blue, you know, I would think that that's not really an honest answer from him. Well, he would go in and he would get in touch with people, and he would use diplomatic means of getting them out, I think, Carson.
Let me ask you this real quick, Dwayne, for the sake of time. Let me ask you this question. Would you, next week, if you were president of the United States, would you hand over the billions, with a B, of dollars back to Iran?
Well, I would put it on hold, and that's another thing they need to ask these candidates. I would put it on hold and say, as soon as those prisoners are released, the money will be released under the circumstances of that they adhere to, that they've already messed up.
You know, here, let me just share this with you, Dwayne. Earlier this morning, real early this morning, former mayor of New York, Rudy Giuliani, and also a past presidential hopeful, was asked that question if he would give the money back to the Iranians, and he looked at the camera and said, hell no.
Yep. Well, they've already broke a treaty, so under those conditions I wouldn't. But if they had not broken a treaty, I still wouldn't give it to them until they release those.
Why are we doing everything according to a supposed agreement and going, well, we said this in A, we said this in Part B, we said this in Part D, we said this in Part F, etc., and we're going ahead and capitulating to these people, and they're laughing at us, they're going ahead with their nuclear program, they're holding our sailors, young men and women, hostage with guns pointed at their heads. Come on, I can't handle this, Dwayne. This isn't the America I grew up in.
Well, the circumstances, one boat motor might go out, not two. And if they did go out, like, I heard fellows say, they would have just, I think it might have been on your program, that guy said they would have just hooked, oh, no, it's Levine. They would have just hooked onto that other boat, and they would have scattered out of there.
Yeah.
And he said it'd take about not even a minute and a half for them to hook that boat up to the other one. He was a fellow that served on those boats.
Well, we're going in circles here a little bit, and I'm running out of time, but I just want to say this. I don't care really what the circumstances are, and I'll tell you why, Dwayne. Right now, the United States of America has to be the world's policeman, and a lot of people are offended when I say that. You know why? Because we're the strongest country in the world, and we cannot let the absolute vermin of the world take over a hot spot here, or take over a country here, or have mass bombings and killings over here. We've got to start to restore some sanity, and it's not going to happen with this administration.
Well, the reason I mentioned hooking onto that other boat is I think what happened is, I don't think there was any boat trouble anyhow. I think they were actually captured and taken in, and they're in Washington right now and getting briefed. Now, if you say a word, we're going to ruin your life.
Yeah, I'm really concerned about what is going to be parsed and what's going to be eliminated or erased from what actually happens, so that the White House, like always happens,
eventually all come out.
Yeah. Dwayne, thank you very much. God bless you, man. Thanks an awful lot. Brings up a very good point. I think that on the debates tonight, put on by the Fox Business Channel, I don't care if it's Cavuto, I don't care who it is that does the asking, but each and every individual up there at the podiums tonight, in the top tier, all 7 of them, should be asked the question what they would do and stand firm on if the circumstances prevailed to them. They should be asked that question. And Dwayne, thank you. I'm awfully glad you brought that up. That's absolutely a very important question. The other question I want answered is, if you are elected president, what will you do to stop any more releasing of these Gitmo terrorists back into society so that they can kill and maim and destroy? I'm sick of this mamby-pamby attitude. And you know something else that really bothers me about Hillary Clinton? She's such a phony, such an absolute fraud. She picks and chooses who's going to ask her questions and what network she's going to be on. Nobody at one of those silly Democratic debates, and they are silly, they're like going to Ned and the first grade reader having crackers and milk, nobody's going to ask her any tough questions. Oh, well, we can't do that. Why, the Clinton machine would get mad at us. Somebody should be sitting in the audience and say, hey, I want to ask a question and I want some answers. It's not going to happen. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. You know, the cars and the trucks and everything were going by a little bit slower here this morning because the road conditions weren't that good. And I certainly hope you are traction ready too, so that if you're forced to drive 25, 30 miles or even more on bad roads, you're traction ready. Well, you will be if you stop into the Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations, always with the best of the different tread designs to get you through all the snow, the muck, and the ice, and of course all the studded tires, the tire chains. They've got it all, and they know all about the best tires that'll fit your operation and your driving. That's right. And all the batteries and the best in brake service, they are so good. Good people to work with. Service is supreme. With Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, Twist Family and Paul, good folks, John over in Poline in Twin Falls, and my buddy Randy on Overland in Burley, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. You stop in and see them today. Real quick, do you hear about Peekaboo Street? Holy cow, that's an ugly story. Really an ugly story. I guess from preliminary investigatory remarks, her and her father had an altercation at her home down in Park City, and she tried to push her 76-year-old father in the basement and lock him up after she pushed him down a couple of flights of stairs. Woo! Wow! Maybe all the glitters is not gold for the Olympic gold medalist Peekaboo Street. And she is charged with assault. And there's going to be a lot more facts coming out on this, they say. But she said, when interviewed, well, we hope that we can have an amicable resolution. We're going to take a little break right now. You've been listening to Zeb at the Ranch. Make sure you're hearing everything. Contact Mount Harrison Audiology for a hearing screening, 312-0957. And I want to say thanks again to Wheels and Gina for all their help earlier this morning. God bless, and we're going to send it back now to the main studios. News is next, and we'll be back in about 6 minutes. Don't go away. Oh, welcome back. Thank you very much. Hour number 2. And things started off a little ragged this morning when we had a power outage over here, but we got back on the air thanks to Gina and Wheels and Deanne. We were sitting in the dark for a long time up until right at program when the power came back on and the electricity. Thank you very much. Hey, Zeb at the Ranch brought to you by our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations, along with some of our great advertisers, including Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. Thank you very much. By the way, also, I want to mention and thank our dear friends over at Hanson Mortuary, 710 6th Street in Rupert, with Joel Heward, his family, and the staff. And believe me, they can and will travel to rural towns and churches to help you with the arrangements that need to be done when there's the passing of a loved one. You don't always have to jump in the vehicle and get to them. They will come to you. And always with the highest ethical standards with unquestioned integrity. Please call them today for more information. 436-5636. Hanson Mortuary, 710 6th Street in Rupert. Thank you very much. Right now, let's go to the phone line. And with us on a Thursday with our Minnecasia Chamber of Commerce report, the lovely Kay Cameron. Good morning, Kay.
Good morning, Zeb.
How are you this morning?
Well, I'm good. I guess I should have expected to wake up and see snow because it was in the forecast, but it was a little surprise this morning when I got up and saw all of the snow.
Well, I was a little surprised, too. We get up at 3:45, and we had our coffee and our breakfast, and then at 5:20, we were without power until 8:10 this morning. So you were one of the lucky ones out of that grid.
Oh, yeah, we didn't have any problems with our power, so we were lucky.
Well, what's going on at the Minnecasia Chamber of Commerce?
Well, with the new year coming upon us, and people have started to think about maybe filing taxes and different things, well, there's just a couple things I want to remind people of, and that is something that is unfortunately very prominent, not just in our community, but probably really across the country, and that is scams.
Right.
People are out to try and just make easy money, and they really just take advantage of people. And so there's lots of different scams that you need to be watching out for. But one of the big ones that happens this time of the year is you'll get a phone call, and they'll say it's from the IRS, and that you owe some money, and that you're going to be arrested, and they give you this whole story. Don't buy into it, because that's not going to happen. If you have any questions or concerns, contact the Sheriff's Department or call our office and we'll guide you in the right direction. All scams need to be reported to the Attorney General's office so they can look into them and try and put a stop to them. Other things that happen is, say you have email, you've got to be really cautious about your email. I know often I get an email and it looks like it's from one of my friends or somebody I know, but if you actually look at it will have somebody I know in the line, if you look at the email address is not an email address I recognize. Don't ever open up any of those things because those can cause viruses into your computer and cause lots of harm. But don't ever, over the phone or over the computer, banks will never ask for any information. I mean, nobody's going to ask for your personal information over the phone or through the computer.
That's right.
Just be very cautious about who you're sharing your information with and the information that you're providing, so that you don't. We don't want anybody to be taken advantage of and lose that money, because once you hit send and send that money, say you get a phone call that your granddaughter's being held hostage in Mexico or somewhere. Once you send that money, it's gone and you can't get it back.
That's right.
So just be very cautious. I know I always err on the side of caution, and even on Facebook, if people are on Facebook, a lot of those coupons that you scroll through could be scams. And so you've just got to be very cautious of what you're looking at, what you're getting into, and the information that you provide.
Well, a lady called me about, it's been now 6 weeks ago, and this was after the program, and she said that she had a call, and the person on the other end of the line said, "We're really sorry to bother you, but this is your bank calling," and evidently they had the right name of the bank, and they say, "We've been having some computer problems, and we need to update some of the paperwork, and we cannot find your number, your account number, to finish some of this work. Would you give it to us over the phone?" And I said, "Ma'am, there's no way in green earth that the bank is going to call you and ask you for your account number. You hang the phone up and run away from the phone."
Absolutely. So, unfortunately, those types of things are just so prevalent, and they come in so many forms and so many things. They try to catch you off guard, and you just have to be really cautious.
I agree. Anything else going on at the chamber?
Well, it's a beautiful snowy day. We're gearing up for our annual installation banquet coming up on the 28th. We are excited about a new year, and we are looking forward to seeing all of you listeners come by and say hello. All
right. Tell everybody of the 937 ways they can get a hold of the Chamber of Commerce.
Well, come by and see us. We're located at 1177 7th Street in Hayburn. Give us a call at 208-679-4793. Find us online at minitransit-chamber.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
All right, Kay. God bless, and we'll talk to you next week. Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
All right. Kay Cameron, director of the Minnetonka Chamber of Commerce. Got some time for you to give me a call. I'm kind of settled in here now. The first hour was kind of nerve-wracking due to the fact that, as I said earlier, we were without power this morning early. Evidently, a pole got snapped off. And at about 5:20 here this morning, Deanna and I are sitting there looking at each other, and then all of a sudden, we couldn't see each other. It was totally dark. All the power was off, and I called Idaho Power, and they said, wow, it's going to be at least 2.5 to 3 hours. They got to reset a pole and restring everything. And I said, ooh, not looking good for my program at 8:06. And they said, oh, I don't think so. Well, I'll tell you what, they did a yeoman's job, absolutely a wonderful job. And the crews really hurried and got everything back up and running. And basically, we only missed about, I think it was about what? Wheels, we were only off about what, 3 minutes? Is that it? He's gone.
Oh, sorry, sir, about that.
Yeah, you're supposed to be listening to me.
Scotty was talking to me.
Oh, okay. Well, you'd pay attention to what I'm asking you. We were only off the air for about 3 minutes. Is that right?
Yeah, about that. And then you called me and you said, oh, we need to get rolling here. And so I loaded you up what you needed and got it rolling. And I'm glad that we were able to get everything situated.
Absolutely. I appreciate your help over there, too. By the way, I want to mention to everybody that a very, very nice family, the Jim Coleman family, south of Hazleton, they lost their home and virtually almost everything in a house fire. And the American Legion Post 82 and American Legion Auxiliary Unit 82 in Eden is going to be hosting a spaghetti dinner fundraiser fundraiser for the Coleman family. And it's going to be January the 23rd from 4 to 8 p.m. at the Snug Bar and Grill. Now, that's located right on West Wilson in Eden. And the cost is $10 a person, with 100% of the proceeds going to the Coleman family. Now, I also have been told there's going to be a silent auction and live music starting at 7 p.m. Caller, I'll be right there. Don't go away, with Gina Jones. So all the money going to the Coleman family, and we certainly hope that they can get back on their feet. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Just a quick question, Zeb. The Coleman family, is that Doc Coleman?
Yes.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Thank you. We'll get busy on this. Thank you.
And, yes, old Doc, and they're good folks over on that north side of the river from me, and actually, as the crow flies, straight up the road almost, and I wish them the very best. And if you want updates on what the family is needing, like clothing and possibly furniture so they can move into different surroundings, and also money, quite frankly, cash donations, all you have to do is go on the City of Hazleton Facebook page, and they'll have updates on there, and we'll keep you posted here also. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. While I'm waiting for your call, don't forget Let's Ride. Oh, yeah. 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the world. I'm telling you what, that's where the fun is sold. Yeah, buddy. They've got all the ATVs. You open up the showroom floor door and just look there and go, oh my, how am I going to make a decision with all this? And then all the motorcycles and accessories, and they've got the snowmobiles and accessories, all the clothing. I'm telling you what a place to go. And if you already have a snowmobile or a four-wheeler and you need a little service work done on it, fantastic service department over there. Yep, Let's Ride. 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the world. And it is true, that's where the fun is sold. You want to hear something else to worry about if you live in California and you love walking along the beaches in California? And you know, every time I go down to California and I do a rodeo fairly close to the coast, I always go over there on the coast. I love to walk on the beach and everything and check out the seashells. Now you got to worry about something else on the beach. You know what it is? Well, for some strange reason, and scientists don't know why, but a poisonous, very poisonous variety of snake is traveling across the ocean from countries that are very, very warm in their climates and everything, and we don't even have these snakes here, I understand. The yellow belly sea snake. Yellow belly sea snake is washing up on the California coast. And now I know the coastal authorities are saying, well, if you're going to the beach, don't let Johnny pick up one of those yellow belly sea snakes because they're really deadly. And they are. And they're washing up on the beaches in California. And needless to say, they ain't dead. So anyhow, that's another worry down in the state of California. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Well, I'm waiting for your call. Don't forget Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. Now, I'm going to give you the number first so that you can sit down and call them, make an appointment about your life insurance, health insurance, retirement planning, employee benefits. They are dedicated and responsive to your needs and always there to help. Call them at 436-4424. 436-4424. Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. Really, really nice people. Wow, what a morning this has been, trying to get everything put together and everything. And I mentioned just before the news at 9 o'clock that former Olympic gold medalist skier Peekaboo Street, wow, everybody thought she was Miss Wholesome USA, tried to push her dad down the basement stairs and then locked him up in the basement? Woo! And evidently what had happened is he supposedly had pulled her hair after they had an altercation about him backing his car into her house. And then it escalated from him pulling her hair, and she then grabbed him and pushed him down the stairs. Don't you love these warm, fuzzy family situation stories? Kind of just makes you sit back in your geezer chair, look around the house and go, maybe we haven't got it so bad after all. Anyway, this all happened down in Park City. And what's this for?
Oh, I was just going to let you know that Ken Moore is going to be talking over the phone instead of coming into the studio this morning because of the roads, and he is kind of busy, so I just figured I'd let you know that.
Hey, by the way, you had to drive over to the station early this morning, too. What are the roads like? I know you drive like a madman, probably 90 miles an hour. How were the roads over in your condition?
Over here, the ice is pretty thick. I'll be honest, I came up to the stop sign by the Elks Lodge, and I kind of slid a little bit because of the ice, and coming down the Paul Highway to come to work, I noticed on the road that it's thick. You can see it shining off the road.
Oh, my. Well, I tell you what, I can tell people that we had an instance here this morning where a gentleman hit a power pole and our power was off, and Wheels said that it's bad over there, so please drive carefully out there. Wheels, thank you, and thanks for that safety road update. Appreciate it. Let's right now ask the question, where in the world all these dogs come from anyway? Holy smokes. We got dogs running all over, my goodness, and here now to help catch them is Minidoka Animal Control Officer Ken Mort. My buddy, good morning. How are you?
Good morning, Zeb. I'm doing great. How about yourself?
How come you're playing lazy and staying home and sitting in the geezer chair having a cup of hot chocolate?
Actually, I'm not at home. Because of these slick roads, I was involved in a little fender bender this morning. Had somebody rear-end me on my way to work this morning.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, then I had dogs I had to take to the vet to get, they're getting vetted to head to their new homes tomorrow, and I had to pick up some that are heading to their new homes tomorrow as well, and it's been a crazy day.
Let me ask you this. When somebody hits you as Minidoka Animal Control with your badge and your 357 and everything, I'll bet you they swallowed really hard when you got out of your vehicle. Actually,
the lady that ran into the back of the truck, she was pretty upset on that about what happened. I mean, she had to tell me I did everything right. I pumped my brakes instead of slamming on my brakes. She says, but these roads are just really slick, and I mean, she's very apologetic. And I mean, did no damage to my vehicle, and I put a little bitty hole in the bumper of hers. But I mean, other than that, everything was okay.
Well, that's the main thing, as long as nobody was hurt. Now, what's going on in the world of canines?
Well, unfortunately, we have nothing available for adoption right now. We've found homes for everything that we've got. They're all going to be going to their new homes tomorrow. And we've been going 110 mile an hour with being able to protect our furry friends. And I wanted to remind everybody out there that with the way these roads are and the slick as they are, make sure you're keeping your furry friends on that secure, because it's hard for people to stop on these roads. We don't want your dog to run out in front of somebody, or your cat, or that and get hit by one of the vehicles driving down the road because they can't stop in time.
Yeah, I wanted to get back into a subject that you and I talked about last week, and I had a phone call, and I forgot all about this until just now. I was going to call you on it, and we were talking about stray dogs on property, whether it's farm property or whatever, and you and I both said that if the owners aren't going to take care of those dogs and they're becoming a public nuisance to the point where they might hurt or damage or cause livestock to be injured, the homeowner has every right to take that dog out, literally. And a person called me and said I was dead wrong, and that the homeowner and the dog owner could sue if you shot their dog. And I said, I don't think so.
According to what I've talked to with the prosecuting attorney, if they are worrying or doing any worrying of livestock, the owner of that livestock has every right
to protect his livestock, which includes shooting and killing the dog. We've had that happen over here, and it stood. I mean, the livestock owner had every right, because he has to be able to protect his livestock, because that is his livelihood.
Well, and it's not only that, Ken, but I say in this day and age, and quite frankly, I think you're going to agree with me on this, dogs that run in packs, they might not only be a detriment to livestock and livestock operations, but supposing there's kids playing out in the backyard, maybe 4-year-old kids out in the backyard by the swing set. I mean, this just cannot happen, and it's a trespass on somebody else's property, but it could also be very dangerous for little children.
It can be. I mean, and I like to iterate. I mean, I've taught my kids that when you see a strange dog, you don't go to the dog. You stay away from it and make sure there's stuff in it that you don't get anywhere near where it can bite you, because you never know if it's friendly or if it's vicious. If it belongs to somebody and they're standing right there, you ask if it's okay to pet the dog. If they tell you yes, it's okay, then you can slowly approach, but always make sure you let that dog sniff you before you just reach for it. And I mean, my kids do that every time they see somebody with a dog. Even if it's a dog that they know, they will ask if it's okay to pet it before they reach out to pet it.
Well, and the thing about these stray dogs this time of the year, I mean, man, we get up, it's in the dark and everything, and take care of our livestock, and the last thing we want to have is a meeting face-to-face with some dog that's growling and mad because you interrupted whatever he was doing. And I, quite frankly, have the feeling that if somebody wants to call and chew me out and say, well, you can't shoot my dog, I'm just going to tell them, well, you better not put out a full bowl of gravy train, because he might not be coming home.
Exactly. I mean, and it's like I said, and want to reiterate, is if they are out worrying of livestock, that livestock owner has every right to protect that livestock in whatever means possible.
Now, anything else going on over there in the new digs that you have for the new kennel?
Actually, we are currently working with one of our local rescues. They had some little dog beds that were really well made that they had us try out, and told us that if they worked for us, that we needed to let them know how many we needed, and they were going to work on being able to get us enough so that we have one for each one of our 4 kennels, and they've been working great. And the dogs are loving them. We've got one dog that is leaving tomorrow that when we put one in with him, he sits on it and will not move off of it, and that even when you come up to the kennel to pet him, he'll leave his backside sitting on that dog bed, because he don't want nobody taking his nice comfy bed, and he'll lean forward so that you can reach through the kennel and pet him, but then he's right back on that bed. So we're moving forward. We're getting some nice beds to have in there. We are still needing bedding. We've been running short on bedding, so if anybody out there's got some old blankets, sheets, comforters, towels, whatever they don't need that we could utilize for bedding or things and stuff to help out, making it more comfortable for when the dogs we wind up having in the facility, we can always use. And if anybody has that stuff and needs to get in contact with us to find out how to get to where we're at, they can reach us at 438-2200. Reach me on my cell phone at 670-7268, or can reach Habron's Animal Control Officer at 670-4348.
You know, I'm really sorry that you got hit with your vehicle by another vehicle this morning, but God bless you, everybody's okay, and hopefully no big deal, I hope.
No big deal. I mean, there was a little damage to her vehicle, but nothing that can't be fixed. Okay.
Ken, I always look forward to having you on the program. You do a great job, and we just look forward to next Thursday, my friend.
Sounds great, and I'll be looking forward to it myself.
Where'd all these dogs come from anyway? My goodness sakes. Officer Ken Mort, Minidoka Animal Control, a really, really good guy, and he does a great job over there, too. Thank you, Minidoka Animal Control. Thank you, Ken. By the way, and I'll say this again, and I mean it, this is more than just a commercial. I think now, NOW is more of a time than ever for you to consider buying a firearm for your own personal and family protection. And I urge you to stop into Red's Trading Post, 203 5th Avenue South in Twin Falls. Since 1936, they've been in that historic Old Town location with the best of people and, of course, all the firearms from Browning, Beretta, Weatherby, Ruger, Benelli, Smith & Wesson, and Winchester, all the ammo, all the accessories. But I want to go back to the people. They have the people working there that know. So please stop in and see them today. They've also got that hard-to-find powder for the reloaders at Red's Trading Post, 203 5th Avenue South in Twin Falls. On Thursdays, we get a chance to visit with one of my favorite people, and that's Rita Ramsey. Rita, good morning to you.
Good morning. How are you today?
Well, we certainly have a list of things that we can talk about this morning. And first and foremost, because I was a little bit limited on how I could gather some of my news reports this morning with the power outage that hit here early this morning, I want to just talk a little bit about what happened with our United States Navy sailors and Iran. I said this morning early, and I'm going to stand behind what I said. I find it absolutely appalling that not only did we apologize for what happened, but Iran is using this for any kind of activity to provoke against us, and they're using it for any kind of a advertisement about how weak the West is, and I think it's time to draw the line.
Well, they absolutely are, and that's exactly what they proved. And the big problem is that I think when it's all found out in the end, we will find out that, first of all, they were probably pulled in and apprehended. They weren't just straying.
Yeah.
I was listening to late night radio a couple of nights ago, the night that it happened, and a guy from the Navy called in, and he said, with the electronic equipment and the stuff that they have, the GPS and everything, there's no way that they can get strayed off into the water without doing it intentionally. And so he said for them to have done it intentionally brings a lot of questions up, because he didn't think that it was even done. He thinks that they were out there and they came over and apprehended them, and then they did this. The big problem is that you had President Obama, who acted like it didn't even happen, and then you had John Kerry that was out making all of the, oh, well, let's bow to you, thanks for taking care of our guys, and that's a bunch of baloney, too.
You know, his statement that I read earlier this morning, these are situations which, as everybody here knows, have the ability, if not properly guided, to get out of control. But he said that he is so thankful to the Iranian authorities for their cooperation and their quick response. They held our sailors at gunpoint with guns at the back of their heads when they made them kneel down. What is this?
Oh, absolutely, and if we were to see the whole picture, we'd find out that they had probably been beaten, or it's like, actually, I think it was John McCain who said it, and I was quite impressed that he would bring that up. Said that sometimes they have one of your guys with a gun to his head saying, "You say it or I shoot."
Well,
and so they have to do that in order to save their men's, or their fellow sailors' lives. And so I think that it was just one of those things where they were saying, ha, you guys are a bunch of dunderheads. Obviously, you haven't forgot about Jimmy Carter. But we know about Jimmy Carter, and we remember.
One thing that happened over this melee, if you will, is the words of Senator John McCain. Now, you know, Rita, you and I both have been highly critical of John McCain, me more so than most. I don't like John. I don't think he's done a good job, and I think he's way past leaving office. However, when he was asked yesterday about this mess with the quotes from John Kerry and the lackadaisical response from Obama's administration and what was said by Josh Earnest, John McCain looked at the camera and said, Josh Earnest is an idiot. And he was right.
Well, he absolutely was, and it surprised me that he would actually say something like that, but He's trying to get some headlines in. He's running for senator, and he's in a really tight race in Arizona right now because they're lining him up with who they should be lining him up with, which is the Democrats and the liberals. And the person that's running against him is quite conservative.
Rita, let me ask you this. A lot of people are going to criticize me for what I said in the first hour about being very, very belligerent and wanting to be almost pugilistic against Iran, but that's the way I feel. I would not give them one red cent on the billions that supposedly we are supposed to pay back to them on some of the sanction money until they release those prisoners from the jails, Pastor Abedini and the others. I would not do one red cent.
Well, we certainly shouldn't, but when you've got John Kerry and Barack Obama doing the negotiating, we'll give them the bank. We'll give them everything. We give them our freedom. We'll give them our sovereignty. We've told them that we don't care if you have nuclear weapons. You can go ahead and take care of anybody in the East, and then when you get done with them, you can come after us. We don't care. I mean, that's exactly what they're saying, and it's pathetic to think that we have got leaders like that. But this is one of those deals where you deserve what you asked for. And when we asked for Barack Obama, that's what we got.
You know, I want to ask you this about Gitmo. I listened the other night, and it was a hard thing to listen to, was that hour-long, kind of a condescending, kind of a lecture, kind of a pie-in-the-sky State of the Union address. There really wasn't anything in there about the state of our union. Am I wrong?
No, I couldn't find anything that was that was about the State of the Union. It sounded to me like it was a parent chewing out a teenager, and he was chewing out all of us for being snippy and snidely and acting like him, and then he was the father correcting it. That's what happens when you aren't a parent to a kid. You want them to act different than you do, but that's what happened. Is he was blaming everybody but himself, and he's the biggest divider of all, and he has been, and that's what it's going to be. This thing at Gitmo is should be making everybody pretty darn up in arms, because not only if they close Gitmo and put all of those people out, they put everybody in danger. But there was a military person came on and said what they're not saying, and what a lot of people don't realize, is that is strategically an important base. And you know darn good and well that after he gets Gitmo emptied, he'll be giving back the base to the Castro brothers.
Yeah.
That is going to really cause some problems with our national security, because we will not have that base, which is extremely important.
I have asked people to call for days and days and days and give me one good reason why Guantanamo Bay should be closed. One person called me after I was off the air, and they said, well, the reason's obvious. It's way too expensive to maintain, which is really the furthest thing from the truth. Now, let me explain why, and I want you to respond to this. I was listening to a Colorado senator early this morning say, wait a minute, they're talking about bringing those absolutely low-life killers that are in Guantanamo Bay over to my state of Colorado, the man said, and they're talking about renovating a prison that has never been used into supposedly being a high-tech facility to house them in, and when they got down and crunched the numbers, they found out that it would cost more to renovate and update that prison than it would be to leave them at Guantanamo Bay. So that excuse doesn't hold any water.
Well, that's absolutely right, and they don't care. They'll just go ahead and spend money wherever they take a yearning to. The big problem is that Guantanamo is already built. It's already there. It's maintained. We should be using it as a facility to gather information against our enemies. And if they don't think that these guys who are Al Qaeda or ISIS are our enemies, then they're up in the night. You know, John McCain was pretty opposed to Gitmo himself. He hasn't said too much about it, but we had a lot of Republican left-leaners that were kind of opposed to it, and it was because it was a thing from the right. But if you start weighing out all of the situations, we need that. We need to have people in there, and we need to be interrogating them, getting information, not trying to figure out how we can get it emptied so that we can deed back the property and the airbase to the Castro brothers.
Yeah, now, Rita, here's the thing that really bothers me. They're going to let go, I think today, they're going to let go 10 more bad guys. They all, that they're going to be releasing, have ties to either Al-Qaeda or ISIS. Now, that's not my information. That is straight from a lady that's been on this program numerous times, and she's the head of the terrorist division at Fox News, and that's Catherine Herridge, a very good friend of mine. And she brought up a very good point yesterday. When they, Fox News, and her specifically, were asking the White House and the administration, why? Why are they being released? Where are they going? And what kind of safety valves do they have to make sure that they're detained or whatever? Nobody from this White House administration would give any answers. What happened to a transparent society?
Well, it all went down the tubes when we elected Barack Obama, and that kind of brings me back to one thing, too. You know, we've got this Trump mania going on. If we look back to 2007 and 2008, when Barack Obama was the new guy and everybody was just fainting over him and, oh, we want him, and you had a ton of conservative, supposedly, people that, oh, this would be great if we had him, and we got somebody. We didn't ask questions. Those of us that followed the news, we knew about Reverend Wright, and we knew about his connections with terrorists, and we knew about his past, and a ton of other things, but those things didn't matter. So we elected Barack Obama. Well, today, on the right, do we have the same scenario going with people who are just falling all over for Trump? He's not a conservative. We need to find out where he really stands on things. And we're going to get more of the same, which is not conservatism and not constitutional, if we keep drumming this drum beat.
You know, as I said, I listened to the State of the Union message the other night, and we had company here, and we, all four of us, were sitting here just listening to what he said, which was minuscule, if anything. And he started talking about how great the economy is and how many jobs they've introduced into the economy, and I thought to myself, wait a minute. He said 900,000 plus jobs. And do you realize, after I did some research on those jobs, if you will, most of them were part-time or very low-skilled labor jobs that barely were above minimum wage. And that's what they're proud of? You got to be kidding me.
Oh, they won't ever tell you that. They just kind of act like, oh, and by the way, what about the 95 million who have dropped out of the labor force?
That's exactly right.
They couldn't find anything.
Right.
They won't address any of that, and it's because we've got low information people out there. They'll hear a one-liner, and that's all they know, and that's all they need. They won't get the information. They won't study it. They won't look at it. And this is where it's led us, and we're headed down a bad road when we have these people who will not do their homework or check into something. We are against the wall for losing our country. We've almost lost it.
Well, you know, Rita, there's so many things going on right now, whether it's the economy, whether it's our nation's security, whether it's a blind eye and a deaf ear to the Muslim problem. Why can't people address that? Let me ask you this. Do you feel like I do, like after that speech the other night, where Obama on numerous occasions basically chastised you and me because we're not accepting the Muslims. We're not accepting the ideology. You know what? Every single major murder or bombing, and I've got a list of them right here, going all the way back to 1968 when Bobby Kennedy was shot and killed, it's Muslims that have been responsible. Why shouldn't we be afraid? Why shouldn't we have a sincere note of apprehension? I'm a little bit sick and tired of being told I have to change my thinking.
Well, we absolutely should be. I just finished reading Brian Kilmeade's book on Thomas Jefferson and the pirates, Tripoli pirates.
Right.
So we were dealing with that back in the 1700s. And it wasn't until Thomas Jefferson got into office and he said, we are not going to put up with any more of this crap of them coming in, taking our stuff and saying, okay, give us a big ransom check and we'll let them go. Well, when he said that's a bunch of baloney, and he sent the Marines, he actually organized the Marines and the Navy to go after him and say, we're not going to put up with that anymore, it kind of stopped. And now here we are, we're back in the saddle with them again. When they find out that we're weak, they're just like a teenage kid that's sneaking around saying, okay, they're not paying attention, let's just do this. And by the way, there won't be any consequences. And that's where we're at, and it's just getting worse and worse and worse. And if we don't do something, they're going to overrun us. And I really think, and maybe I'm just on that conspiracy train, but I think that this was part of Obama's way to transform America, was to bring in a bunch of people who didn't care about America and who would actually damage it. And then he could sit back and just kind of smile and say, well, I'm part of that, and the reason that happened, boy, that was a good deal for me. But he has brought in these people, he's ignoring them, he's letting them go. Could you believe his statement of saying, they're just a bunch of guys in the back of pickups, this isn't the start of World War III?
Yeah.
Kind of like, oh, you just got some kids that come in off of the desert from hunting rabbits, and they're all sitting in the back of a pickup.
Yeah, exactly, and you said that very, very well. Thank you very much. Rita, stand by. When I come back after doing the weather, I want to talk to you about Jerry Falwell Jr., and I'm sure you heard about what happened to him and is happening to him and Liberty University. We're going to talk about that in just a moment. Stand by, because we're going to go to the weather real quick, and the weather brought to you by Mountain Transmissions. All makes and models, cars, trucks, RVs, motorhomes. You better believe it, Rick and his crew can repair and rebuild and get you going again. And they've got a transmission tune-up special for just $89.95. Where are they? Thought you'd never ask. 504 East Main in Burley. And the telephone number to call, 678-9110. Mountain Transmissions. Here now is Gina with the weather.
We are not liking the weather today. Why? Well, because it's windy, it's snowy, and it's icy out there. Going to continue that way throughout the day. Winds out of the southwest right around 22 miles an hour, high of 34. Tonight, low of 27. More snow showers are in the forecast for tomorrow morning, and the winds are going to continue as well. High of 34 with an overnight low of 23. And then for Saturday, well, rain and snow showers mixed, accumulations of an inch or better, but the winds are going to be dying down, high of 36 with an overnight low of 29. Yesterday's high was 40, and the overnight low was 19. That is your weather for Zeb at the Ranch.
Thank you, Gina. Brought to everybody by Mountain Transmissions. And Rick and his crew are located at 504 East Main in Burley. Make sure that your transmission is running efficiently. Call them at 678-9110. Rita, did you hear about the big flap going on in Virginia right now, where Liberty University is on the carpet and being really nailed by various high schools around the area? They were going to house a great big Virginia High School League debate. And because of comments that were made by Jerry Falwell Jr., everybody is pulling out and condemning Liberty University. Did you hear about this?
Actually, I didn't, but it doesn't surprise me, because anybody who, Liberty is one of them, that will stand up for people's right to religion and learn the Constitution becomes a big target. And so it gets pretty easily when you have somebody just, poking at the bear and saying, okay, now here's one we can go with, and they go after it. It's really sad. Everybody in the United States of America should be, hollering to high heaven saying, leave them alone. They can do what they want. If you don't like what they're doing, have your own thing, but you don't need to be bothering trying to shut things down, because all you're doing is trying to cut down people's rights and for religion, the Constitution, and everything. And Liberty has been an amazing college to school people on the Constitution.
Well, here, let me bring you up to speed real quick. We've got short time left, but basically, Jerry Falwell Jr. was, on December 4th, was giving a speech, and Jerry Falwell encouraged students to obtain concealed weapons permits in the wake of the San Bernardino shooting. And he said, this is a quote from him, "If more good people had concealed carry permits, then we could end those Muslims before they go out there and kill. Well, that statement hit the airwaves and hit the newspapers, and everybody was up in arms. And when he was asked to clarify his statements in the Washington Post, he said Muslims, he was specifically referring to Islamic terrorists, but they are coming after Liberty University, and they're trying to get him and really cause problems with the school. And you know what, Rita? The man said the truth.
Well, that's just it. In this day and age, you can't tell the truth, and you can't put it like it is because it might hurt somebody's feelings. The problem is what about the feelings of the people who are saying it? That doesn't mean anything either. It's just if you're on the wrong side of an issue of what the left thinks that you should be on, they're going to target you and try to run you out of Dodge. And we've got to start standing up for that. People have got to start saying, we're not going to put up with this anymore. I think that's half the reason why people are really, pro Dr. Ben Carson and Donald Trump is because they're saying, I'm not going to take your crap. I don't have to. Drum me out of town if you want, but I'm not going to take that. And everybody else, we just kind of walk around on eggshells and hope that we don't offend somebody, and we're getting tired of it. We're ruining our country because of it.
You know, real quick, I want you to respond to what Hillary said yesterday, and I listened to the news tape on this, and I thought, boy, this woman, the walking magpie of the Democratic Party, Hillary came out and said that of all the news media outlets, she was a big fan of Al Jazeera TV, and I about fell over.
Oh, she's been in that court for a long time because didn't Al Gore have that, thing over to Al Jazeera?
Yep.
Well, I feel the exact same way as Peyton Manning, and he said it in 12 words. I'm sure that it's going to be devastating to all their viewers.
Which would be, what, 12 people? Yeah. But you know what, I guess the point I'm getting at is it seems like the left is out pushing for an acceptance of an ideology and a religion that, quite frankly, is causing a lot of problems.
Well, it is, and when you're not informed and paying attention to them, it's really hard for you to put the kibosh to any of that kind of stuff because you don't feel like you know what you're talking about. But we're going to have to start shutting them down and saying, you know what, you can say what you want, and I'll say what I want. And that's just the way that it is. We'll have to agree to disagree.
Well, yeah, but wait a minute, though. Going back to Jerry Falwell Jr. or you or me or anyone, boy, the duct tape is out there. They're trying to take our free speech away and tape our mouths shut.
Well, they do, and when we bow to them and we don't end up having a lot of against this kind of protests or articles and stuff, that's exactly what happens, and they're just saying, man, just hand us more duct tape and we'll just keep taping up mouths and we'll be able to do whatever we want. It's our agenda.
What's going on with the Tea Party?
Well, we're actually having Tea Party meeting tonight. We're going to have a report on the bills that are in the Idaho legislature, and we're going to be talking about the 2016 presidential election, and then we've got a report on the refugees as well as the refugees in this area of what's going on. So we've got a full slate, and we're going to put our debate on DVR. Okay.
Well, I tell you what, I would love to have a copy of that. If I could pay for one, I'd love to have one and hear more about that. Sounds great to me. Listen, Rita, thank you so much for being on our program again. And once again, I want to urge everybody to drive carefully out there. A lot of snow and ice. And we'll talk to you next Thursday and look forward to more news items that you're going to kind of talk back and forth with me, and we'll figure out an answer. Thanks, Rita.
Okay, thanks, Zeb. Have a good one.
God bless. Rita Ramsey on our program for this morning. Thank you very much. I got to check and see what we're going to do here. By the way, Wheels, if you're by your microphone, and you should be, are you listening?
Yes, sir.
I am going to, during the 10 o'clock news, and I can't think of any other way other than to tell you right now, I'm going to be calling you and giving you some phone numbers and some people that we couldn't get to you before we went on the air this morning because of the power outage. So be listening, okay, buddy?
All right, sir. I'll be in.
All right, thank you. You know, early this morning, I had a little bitty bowl of cereal. Just a little bitty bowl of cereal, and I'm hungry. And right now, if you're like me, you're probably starving to death. Well, I know some great places to go for lunch, and you just got to take a listen right now. How about Taco Bandito? 2301 Overland and Burley. They got that steak burrito, breakfast burrito. Oh, it's delicious. Absolutely phenomenal. And they've got all kinds of great food on the menu over there. And they've got a new lime ranch dressing that absolutely is great. Taco Bandito, 2301 Overland and Burley. You stop in and see those good folks today. How about Steve-O's? 290 South, 600 west of Hayburn. Food made the way you love it. Oh, my goodness. They've got the best doggone French fries. And, of course, don't forget they've got buffalo burgers. And they got Steve-O's nacho fries topped with cheese and jalapeno peppers. They've got it all for you at Steve-O's. 290 South, 600 west of Hayburn. And food made the way you love it. How about Burgers, etc., 124 South Oneida in Rupert, and another location at 700 North Overland in Burley. You be sure and stop in and see those good folks today because hamburgers only 99 cents and cheeseburgers only $1.29 after 3 p.m. Are you kidding me? And a different delicious flavor of soup every day. You're going to love the people. You're going to love the food at Burgers, etc. in Rupert and Burley. Let's go back over to Burley right now. The AC Drive-In at 601 East Main in Burley. Have you tried that chicken fried steak sandwich? It is delicious, along with the famous Farmer Brown burgers and the ranch burgers and all the fries with the special sauce. Oh, my. You're going to love a place that's been there for a long, long time at 601 East Main in Burley, the AC Drive-In. And now let's not forget, too, oh, my goodness, El Caporal at 610 North Overland in Burley. Brand new to our Starving to Death segment. I'll tell you what, whether it's lunch or dinner or going in with your friends or catering to parties, my goodness sakes, the food is fantastic. And don't forget, ladies' night is on Wednesday nights. Margaritas 2 for 1. You're going to love them. I tell you what, great, great food and great environment. Every time we go in there, the people are just so nice with quality, fresh food. You're going to love El Caporal at 610 North Overland in Burley. And those are just a few great places to go when you're hungry and starving to death. We're going to I'm starving already. I'm chewing on my microphone. We're going to take a little break and come back in just a few minutes after the news with the Cassia County School segment. Don't you go away. Wheels, take it away. Oh, my. Nice looking, sunny, well, not really beautiful, but nice looking sunny day outside. I mean, it's cold out there, 29 degrees I've got at my place. And road conditions are probably very, very slippery, so be careful out there. Zeb at the Ranch, and we want to say thank you to our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations, along with our dear friends at Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. Thank you very much. By the by, let's take a look and see what's on the goodie list to eat at the Chadwick Sports Grill today at 139 West Main. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Sweet and sour meatballs. Yeah, buddy, over white rice with veggies and super salad. Along with all the other great menu choices. That's the special, sweet and sour meatballs. Love them at the Chadwick Sports Grill, 139 West Main in Burley. You stop in and see them today. I mentioned, and I want to hit this again, that some very dear folks, the Coleman family, Jim Coleman house was burned in a fire. They lost almost everything, and they need clothing and furniture and, quite frankly, money donations. And Gene Brown is heading everything up for these folks, 731-9018. And there's going to be the American Legion Post 82 and the American Legion Auxiliary Unit 82 in Eden is hosting a spaghetti dinner fundraiser for the Colemans. It's going to be held on January 23rd from 4 to 8 p.m. at the Snug Bar and Grill in Eden. And the cost is $10 a person, and 100% of the proceeds go to the Colemans. And there's also going to be a silent auction and live music starting at the Snug at 7 p.m. with Gina Jones. So it should be a lot of fun and help get some well-needed donations for the Coleman family. Okay? Got you covered on that. Now, let me see what else have I got cooking here. I had a note for next Monday on the program. Yes, I remember what it was. Every Monday on the program, from now until the end of the legislative session, we will have at 10:06 the Idaho Legislative Update. And we will have probably this next Monday, I believe, Speaker of the House, Representative Scott Bedke will be coming on the program. And we will feature every week during that half hour what's going on up there at the legislative session, what you need to be concerned about, what they're getting accomplished on the various issues. And we're going to have Senator Kelly Anthon, Representative Fred Wood, and also, like I just mentioned, Speaker of the House Scott Bedke. And they're going to be calling in on Mondays at 10:06 so that you can call in and ask questions about whether it's education, whether it's water, whatever the issue is. They'll give you the straight answers right then at Monday at 10:06 on this program. It is time now for the Cassia County School Update, and we want to say thank you to two great sponsors, A Child's World at 1308 Overland in Burley, and by the way, they're having a fantastic big sale, 40 to 50% off on winter items like clothes and hats and coats. Holy cow, and they got all the games and the puzzles, and they got everything over there that you need for the wee ones. You better believe it. Check it out. Great birthday present ideas, free gift wrapping at A Child's World, 1308 Overland in Burley. And also our thanks go out to the Ambulatory Surgery Center at 1344 Highland Avenue in Burley, 678-8888. You can save literally hundreds of dollars by going to the Ambulatory Surgery Center right across from the hospital in Burley, and a very, very nice facility, very nice people, and take care of things like life-saving colonoscopies, eye surgeries, and please give them a call today to save money. 677-8888. Ambulatory Surgery Center and A Child's World, bringing you school days in Cassia County. And with us this morning is the technology trainer and federal programs coordinator for Cassia County Schools, Mr. Kevin Bushman. Good morning, Kevin. How are you?
Good morning, Zev. How are you? I'm great.
You've been on before, haven't you?
I have. We visited before. I always enjoy talking to you.
Well, I appreciate it. Now, tell me a little bit about, boy, that's a lengthy title to put on a business card, Technology Trainer and Federal Programs Coordinator. What does that mean?
Well, what that means is every school district receives federal dollars, flow-through dollars. So it goes from the federal government to the states. States then turn around and distribute that back out to the school districts to run various programs. And so I coordinate two of those programs. And then the other part of that is technology training. And we have an IT department here in Cassia Schools. Probably surprises nobody. And but we also have a tech team, a Cassia core tech team. And we have people in each of the schools that kind of help each other out in terms of integrating technology into the classroom. And what we're trying to do is, make sure that it's not technology just for technology's sake, because that's really not very beneficial. But there's a lot of good things that can come from using technology to enhance the educational experience for students. And so those are kind of the programs that I'm over.
Let me ask you this, and I am not a techie. You would laugh yourself right down to the floor at my inability to know technology, so I'm being honest with you. Every day, I would assume, and tell me if I'm wrong, that your job is one that you have to keep abreast of and keep knowledge of every day because it changes so fast. Am I right or wrong?
You are exactly spot on. And what's amazing to me is, this is a little bit outside of education, but it's amazing to me how technology is in every aspect of our lives. And I'm getting old now, so I think about some things that have disappeared, but I also think about some things that are brand new. For instance, my grandfather dairied, and I don't think he would recognize a dairy of today from what he was running in the 50s and the early 60s. It's incredible, isn't it?
Well, it is, but okay, let's talk about a certain segment. This is really interesting to me, even though I don't understand it. Let's talk about smartphones. Let's talk about anything with computer updates, etc. How and why? I mean, I have an envisionment in my mind that we have a whole bunch of nerdy-looking people sitting behind these great big locked doors, looking into computers with 27-inch lenses on their glasses, and they just are coming up with new ideas every day. Is it like that?
Yeah, probably. For a second, I thought you were describing me.
Oh, no.
No, I'm sure there's a lot of that going on, but, we're excited, and we have, I don't know if we have time, but we have a career night that's coming up on Wednesday, February 3rd at Burley High School from 6 to 8 p.m., and I guess what's exciting to me is we're going to invite the four-year schools. They're always going to be part of any kind of career night, but we're excited because members of the community, businesses in the community, I've been talking with Kay Cameron over at the Chamber of Commerce, and High Desert Milk is going to have a table set up, McCain's, Double L Manufacturing, Dot Foods. We have a lot of real local interest in terms of getting information out to the kids, because one of the things that bothers me professionally is that, and personally, is that the notion that you have to leave the Mini-Caja area to have a good job, good paying job, and you absolutely do not. Well, that's kind of what the focus of that career night's going to be on Wednesday, February 3rd, and we want to invite parents too.
Let me ask you this then, Kevin. Okay, let's just say a name like Dot Foods. Really, really nice people, and they've been on my program many times. What are they going to sit up as a display to basically encourage or entice young people to want to go into that career? What are they going to tell these kids?
I think it's a misunderstanding, and I've got 3 adult boys, and unfortunately, or fortunately, I don't know, we sent them, with good intentions, we all sent them away to school. And again, I have no issue, no problems with four-year schools, but, they never graduated. They accrued a lot of student debt. And if they knew, if they had a chance to go to a career night and talk to the folks like at Dot Foods and find out, you can have a career, you can make a living that provides for you and your family. They have lots of benefits. They pay for school. I think what I've been telling all these folks as we've talked on the phone is, I think all we want to do is create awareness. That's the key, because we have to change the way people think about careers. And there are so many great opportunities right here in Burley and the Rupert area. And when I was talking to Carla Robinson at High Desert Milk, they have jobs right now they can't fill.
Really?
Really, yeah.
Well, now, when we talk about these jobs, are they going to be there on that career night at Burley High School on February 3rd and have the kind of a personal touch as to have a student walk up to them and say, well, gee, what can I do with your company? What are some of the different qualifications or different classifications of employment? Are they going to lay this all out for these kids?
Yes, exactly right. They're going to talk to the kids that are interested in some are going to have, like you say, some are going to be real specific. They're going to want to know, as a kid, you're thinking, well, how much do you pay?
Yep.
What are the benefits? Those kind of things. But I think that the value comes from those kids, that maybe the younger kids, those 7th, 8th, and 9th graders, because if you never see yourself going to High Desert Milk in the future, for example, or Double L to work, then it's pretty hard, to set that vision. And that's what we're going to try to do, is in one evening, we're not going to give them all the information that they need. But if it creates enough interest with them and their parents, then I think we've accomplished what we want to do. The other thing is, we have a tech center, a beautiful tech center, right here in Kasia, and some of those kids in most of those career fields, they have 100% placement.
Wow.
When they leave.
And Kevin, you said something earlier I want to elaborate on a little bit, and I'm not denigrating 4-year colleges and universities in any way, shape, or form, but too many people have pushed, including our current administration, have pushed these kids to go to school, get a college education, when in essence, I would say, from the research that I've done, 6 out of 10 probably don't deserve or really should go to a 4-year university, and that's why having these career nights where they can really find out about the nuts and bolts and meats and potatoes of what's going on with businesses and what they can do to get a good job, that is fantastic.
Yeah, no, I'm in 100% agreement, and I've got lots of bosses at home and at school, and my bosses here in the district, very supportive of the idea, and it's, it takes a while. I'm going to be the first one to admit that it takes us a while to kind of understand. What happens is, though, that everything's changing so much. The careers are changing, and the advice that when I was in school, in the 60s and 70s to go on, I was at the tail end of Vietnam, then your option was go to school or go into the military.
Right.
And now there are so many other high-tech, high-paying, high-skilled, high-reward jobs. And again, I get discouraged when I hear people say, that they're advising their kids to leave the Mini-Kasia area and find themselves a career. You don't have to do that.
Well, I'll tell you. I'm really I'm excited to do this on my program, because I think people like you and opportunities like this are absolutely great. Let me kind of sum up, because I'm almost out of time. A career night, and I like your title right here, Set Your Future on Fire. I love that. A little enthusiasm. You know what? I wished I'd have had a guy like you talking to me when I was in high school instead of Mr. Bull, and honestly, that was his name, Mr. Bull, our guidance director. He was like talking to a mortician that had died himself. You have a lot of enthusiasm and a lot of insight on this. It's going to be at Burley High School, 6 to 8 p.m. on Wednesday, February 3rd, right?
Correct.
And what about, do they have to pre-register or just show up?
Just show up, and we've got some things that we're going to give away. There's going to be some laptops, a couple laptops that we're going to give away, and I know that there's some other things. I went and talked to the kids at Burley High School, and I said, I told them what we were going to do, and I said, what would get you there? And so we're going to try to provide some incentives to get them there, because once they get there, I agree with you 100%. Once they get there and see what's happening, I think that even if we can set a couple kids in that direction, I think we would have been successful.
And now in this age of technology, Kevin, go answer your cell phone. I heard it ringing.
Yeah, I did. It beeped. I don't know who's trying to get a hold of me.
Well, by golly, I appreciate it. Kevin Bushman, good guy, technology trainer and federal programs coordinator. Best of luck on that school career night. We'll keep plugging it here on my program.
thanks, Zeb. It's always really great to talk to you.
You take care of yourself. Thank you much.
You too.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Nice man right there. That is a great opportunity to find out about great businesses right here in the Magic Valley. There you go. Cassia County School Days brought to you by A Child's World at 1308 Overland in Burley and Ambulatory Surgery Center at 1344 Highland Avenue in Burley. Number to call, 677-8888. I enjoy that segment, and I want to give credit where credit is due, because Debbie Critchfield, the Cassia County Schools Communications Officer, every single week has lined up outstanding guests and topics, and I really want to tell her how much I appreciate that. Debbie, thank you very, very much. You know what? It's time for our business salute and update, and I think today we're going to be heading over to 159 West Highway 30 in Burley to Berry Equipment and Rental, and we have one of the luckiest guys in the world. I can't remember how many breakfasts he won during high school football season, but by golly, Juan, are you there?
I'm here. How you doing?
Hey, how come you never called me and said with all the breakfasts that you won, you took me and my wife out to breakfast?
I took advantage of it. I do love that Denny's breakfast you guys gave me. It's sure delicious.
Oh, I'll tell you what, I hope you have good luck again next year during football season. What's going on over at Berry Equipment and Rental? I understand you're taking a lot of the rentals and you're recycling them to be sold to the public. Is that right?
Yeah, all our rental units are up for sale, and that goes for anything. And that's from skid steers to our tractors to our excavators. Now, it is kind of cold right now, but it's not too far away from spring, and we want all our customers to start thinking about their mowers. We got all our walker mowers starting at $8,000, and also we have 2 demo models that are 10% off, but there's only 2 left.
Okay. And those walker mowers, tell us a little bit about them. What makes them so special?
Well, the unique thing about them is their bagging system. Now, you go to all your other stores and you see your mowers with this big suction tube on the side that throws in the grass into the bags. The walker mowers don't have that. It's right between underneath the seat. So you can get really close to all the trees, your house, and anything you need to.
You know, I'll be honest with you, though, Juan, the way I drive, I don't think I need to get any closer to the trees. and you've got some of those on a special low price right now, right?
Yeah, we do. We have our new shipment coming in here soon, and we actually held on to 2 of our demo models, and like I said, those are 10% off, so you run in and get one.
Now, what about the Coyote tractors and the Bobcat skid steer loaders and all that? I mean, what kind of information can you give us about those?
Well, we have every skid steer available. We have anything from tracks to wheeled to small S450s to the track 870s. Now, we offer in-house financing through Bobcat and also with our Coyote tractors. We have anything from a small 25 horse up to a 60 horse. Now, we have a special right now for a 35 horsepower tractor with a hydrostatic transmission with a loader starting at $18,990.5.
Oh, say that price again. I think I'm interested. I better not let my wife hear that. I'm coming down. What was that?
$18,995.
Ooh, I like the sound of that. And you know, you've got a little training course out behind, don't you, to teach people how to run this equipment?
Oh, yeah. We have our gravel pit in the back, and you can go ahead and take anything you want and go ahead and test it out. So
now,
whenever you're ready, we'll let you know.
Now, let me be really straight up honest with me on this one. Have you ever had anybody stop in and check out the equipment and try to drive it, and the entire staff at Berry Equipment and Rental got really scared?
No, not yet. I mean, there's been the times that I've seen everyone sweat when I got in a big loader, but I like to go really, really fast.
Okay, well now, what are the office hours over there at your location?
We're open 7:30 to 5:30 Monday through Friday, and 8 to 5 on Saturdays.
Okay. Now, it's leasing and or purchase, correct?
Correct.
Okay, and you've got all the information now. There's other locations, too. You want to give us all the locations, please?
Yeah, our Twin Falls office is located off of Addison Avenue in Twin Falls, and we also have one in Jerome.
Okay. Now, Eli is a big Packer fan like I am, and I'm going to put you on the spot. Who are you picking, the Arizona Cardinals or the Green Bay Packers this Saturday?
Well, I'm a San Francisco 49er fan, so naturally I have to root against the Cardinals, so go Packers.
Well, that's good that you said that, but knowing that now you're a 49er fan, maybe you'll grow out of it in future years.
Maybe, who knows?
Okay. Hey, listen.
Winning, yeah, I might have to.
One, we'll send everybody down to Berry Equipment and Rental. You guys are great people, and you always have all the equipment that people need to get the job done right. Thank you so much, and have a great day, and I'll be talking to you in another time.
You as well. Don't work too hard, okay?
All right, thank you. Good guy over there at Berry Equipment and Rental, and they're located at 159 West Highway 30 in Burley, and they have locations at Addison Avenue West Twin Falls, South Lincoln and Jerome. Berry Equipment and Rental. Really, really good guys. Oh, my goodness. I'm trying to see. Coming up next half hour, we are going to have a lawyer with the Pacific Legal Foundation, and his name is Damian Schiff, and he's been on our program before. And the state of California is going in exactly the same direction as we did here in Idaho years and years ago, with the stupidity of various wildlife groups trying to really push for the endangered species on wolves in California. And he's going to tell us about some of the pitfalls and some of the problems they're already having down in California. And he wrote a really good article that was in the Sacramento Bee. So we're going to have him coming up at about 4 or 5 minutes from right now. Damian Schiff with the, what did I say? I got to look at my notes. The Pacific Legal Foundation. And we had another person on the other day with that organization, and they really are good folks. Right now, once again, I want to remind you, the Coleman family had that fire, and if you want to find out more on updates, what they need for clothing and furniture and money, go to the City of Hazleton Facebook page, and they'll have all the information as to what they need right there. We're going to take a little break, send it over to Wheels, and he'll roll with it, and we'll be back in just a couple of minutes.
And now, back to Zeb at the Ranch on AM 1230 KVAR. To reach Zeb, call 436-2244 or toll free 1-866-927-4587. And now, here is Zeb.
Oh, thank you very much, and welcome back. We're on the home stretch and in the lead as we go into the last half hour. Zeb at the Ranch for a Thursday, and again, I want to reiterate, be careful out there. The roads are slippery. We had that snow and that ice, and we were off. Our power was off from about 5:20 this morning until a little bit after 8 o'clock, and somebody sheared off a pole. So be careful driving down the roadways and highways here in southern Idaho. Right now, let's go to the phone lines, and we have with us a gentleman with the Pacific Legal Foundation. I believe he's been on my program in the past, and we'll say good morning to Damian Schiff. Good morning, Damian. How are you?
Doing well, thank you. Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's my pleasure, sir. Thank you very much. Damian, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, you have been on my program in the past, have you not?
I believe that's right, yes.
Well, now, the topic we're going to talk about this morning is one that really sticks in my craw, and that's the wolf situation. We have been embattled with this wolf situation for over the last 16, 17 years here in the state of Idaho, and you just recently wrote an article about wolves as far as California is concerned. Bring us up to speed on the gist of why you wrote this article.
Well, in fact, it's actually directly related to the problems that Idaho has had with wolves. As your listeners know, in the mid-1990s, the federal government introduced wolves into the state of Idaho, and those wolves dispersed and increased their population and traveled into Oregon in the early 2000s, and then a few years ago, one of those wolves made its way down into northern California. And because that single wolf crossed the state border, a group of environmentalists then petitioned our Fish and Game Commission to protect the wolf under the State Endangered Species Act. And unfortunately, notwithstanding many objections from the Farm Bureau and from the Cattlemen's Association, from individual livestock owners and ranchers. The Fish and Game Commission just last month voted 3-1 to protect the wolf under the State Endangered Species Act. And again, this is all as a result, unfortunately, of the federal government's, in my view, wrong-headed decision to reintroduce the wolves into Idaho back in the 1990s.
You know, Damien, I'm very, very pleasantly surprised of your stand on this. And I don't mean that to be derogatory in any way, shape, or form. I thank you for your stand on this. We need more people of intelligence like you to stand up and fight for us. This situation of the wolves and what's happened with the Endangered Species Act and literally tying the hands of property owners behind their backs and subjecting them to the literal terror of wolves, it's got to be stopped. And now you in California, you're going to be a major part of what we've been through.
Absolutely. And I think what you said, Zeb, is spot on, that it's not a question of whether wolves should have any regulation, but rather how once they're protected under an Endangered Species Act, property owners basically have no recourse. They have to sit by and watch while not just their livestock, but oftentimes their pets are eaten by wolves that are inadequately managed. And that really is the biggest problem. Also, another thing that many of your listeners may not know is that the wolves that we have now in Idaho and Oregon and now actually in California, those wolves are not native to this part of the country. Rather, they were from a population of wolves that was taken out of Canada by the federal government and then introduced into Idaho, as I said,
absolutely
20 years ago.
Yes.
And the reason why that is significant is because the wolves that are now here are much larger and much hungrier, so to speak, than any wolf population that would have been in this area in Idaho or Oregon or in California even historically. So not only do you have all the menace to private property and personal safety from the wolves, but you frankly have an environmentally nonsensical program. Because if we're supposed to be protecting our natural environment and the natural ecology, it makes no sense to introduce into that environment a totally foreign or non-native predator, which is what we have now with the current population of wolves.
Yeah, now, Damien, stop right there. You're a lawyer and you're a sharp guy, okay? Why wasn't there or isn't there a lawsuit against the federal government for transporting a species that is not native to the United States? They transported it from Canada into the United States. Isn't that worthy of a lawsuit and also a stoppage of that event?
It certainly is worthy, and I believe that there were lawsuits filed that were unsuccessful. And part of the problem is that the Endangered Species Act is written so broadly that it gives the Fish and Wildlife Service, for example, such authority to manage populations that are protected under the Act that there is very little that a property owner could do to prevent what the service calls these experimental populations and reintroducing. So unfortunately, there isn't a whole lot that can be done. Now, that's not true, though, under a lot of the state Endangered Species Acts. So, for example, California's Endangered Species Act says that you can only protect native species. You can't protect foreign or non-native species. And that, I think, is a very strong argument that one could throw against our Fish and Game Commission in its decision to protect the wolf here in California.
Okay, now I'm going to say this, and again, with your knowledge, vast knowledge on this subject, you can tell me I'm right or wrong. But honestly, I see this as another ploy by the environmental groups around this United States to absolutely create and further a denigration of agriculture and rural living in this country. Do you agree with me or not?
I do agree with you. I think the wolf is just a pretext, like so much else that goes on in the environmental community, for greater control over private property and also to discourage the productive use of agricultural or rangeland or any other type of property. It's not about so much the wolf, it's not so much about environmental protection as it is an attempt to substantially reduce private property rights.
Absolutely. Now, let me ask you this question, and this has to come up in every conversation, I think, when you're talking about the reintroduction of these wolves and the protection of these killers. The money, the environmental money. They have got deep pockets, unlimited resources. They can haul anybody into court and stay there almost forever. How do we fight these people?
It's a tough battle because, unfortunately, over the last 20 years or so, the federal government has, by and large, gone along with what the environmentalists want, and at the same time, the federal courts have too. Now, one way to fight back, if I may say so, is to fight back in court. That's really what Pacific Legal Foundation, where I work, what we do all day long, representing private property owners for free in lawsuits against environmentalists or in lawsuits against government agencies when our clients' property rights and other individual liberties have been violated. That's one way to do it. Otherwise, it just requires a cultural change so that people will remember that if you don't have strong protection for private property rights, and instead you have an unbalanced environmental regulatory state, ultimately what happens is we lose our liberties generally, and that's something that really nobody should want.
You know, I was reading your article. It was a very well-written article, and if you don't mind, I'd like to refer to a paragraph that says gray wolves were already protected in California as a non-game mammal, a legal arrangement that allowed flexible control. In contrast, under the state endangered species listing, it will be next to impossible for landowners to get permits to kill or even remove a wolf that is threatening their animals. Right there is the key. It's too late. If I've got some horses out in a corral, or if I've got some steers, or if somebody's raising goats and the wolves are there, do you mean to tell me the idiocy and incompetency of government is going to say you got to get a permit first before you can protect your animals? It's already too late.
It is already too late, and I think that's one reason why, particularly here in California, the cattlemen and ranchers are so upset by the listing of the gray wolf, because it makes it almost inevitable that you're going to have significant management problems and a lot of depredation, and there's not too much that can be done so long as the wolf remains listed.
You know, and I'll say this, Damien, and I can understand if you want to back off from a kind of a counter statement, but honestly, this is going to create an environment of ranchers, whether they're in the cattle business, the sheep business, doesn't make any difference, to where they're going to have to start applying the 3 S's of shoot, shovel, and literally shut up.
Well, you know, it's funny you should mention that because so often with endangered species regulation, that is a temptation, because the statute provides no incentive to a landowner to make his property more habitable for protected species. Everybody knows that once you've got endangered species on your property values are going to fall precipitously, and you won't be able to do much. And so it's not surprising that that you have individual landowners who are tempted to break the law in order to protect their private property interests. So my recommendation is you can avoid that problem altogether by, first of all, compensating landowners when their property loses value because of environmental regulation, and secondly, introduce more flexibility into the environmental regulation to start off with. Don't make it all or nothing, but rather develop a flexible plan where you can preserve the environment, but you can also protect private property.
Yeah,
if you do those two things, I don't think you'll have any problem with everyone abiding by the law.
Yeah, but wait a minute, though, Damien. And again, I'm not trying to be critical of what you just said, but I've got to oppose that statement of letting basically these killer carnivorous wolves come into an area, and once they start killing, it's not for food. Basically, it's for their own thrill and enjoyment. And they might kill 80 or 90 head of sheep. They might go after about about 30 or 40 head of calves. They will do and kill, and they'll come back and kill for more pleasure. Once they start, it's pretty hard to stop this, and personally, I think going back to the 3 S's and a 30-06 might be the only answer.
Well, I would say in the case that you just described, which unfortunately has happened, where you have wolves who are just basically hunting for fun or for practice, not for food. That's a perfect example where there should be flexible management, where the Fish and Wildlife Service or whatever state agency should be more generous in offering permits so that landowners can effectively manage their property, and at the same time make sure that they're not unfairly singled out for the cost of wolf reintroduction.
You know, the thing is, the state of California has been inundated with these absolutely idiotic movements, whether it's a little snail darter in the water, whether it's one of those other little fishes that got caught in the screen, whether it's the stoppage of their irrigation water, I mean, whether it's going to be now the wolf situation. I mean, my goodness, California and the San Joaquin Valley, the leading breadbasket to the entire world, and I see this as a blatant assault on agriculture, like I said earlier.
It is, and unfortunately, it's, as you just described, it's not an isolated instance with the wolf. It's been a consistent attack from the environmental community using environmental laws as pretexts to change the way we use our land, so that agriculture is no longer considered a valuable industry, an essential part of our country, but rather is considered the enemy.
Have you talked to a lot of these folks down there that are ranchers and farmers, and they've really looked you right in the eye and stated their case and their concerns? I mean, what are they telling you?
Their biggest concern is that we will have in California in about 10 years many of the problems that you've had in Idaho over the last 10, 15 years, that you have established wolf packs that are ineffectively managed, that cause a lot of property damage, and that the cost of that damage is borne unfairly by individual ranchers and cattlemen. That's their biggest fear. And
do you see any light at the end of the tunnel on this thing, or is it a train coming at us head on?
Well, some light. I'm hopeful. The foundation here is looking very seriously at filing a lawsuit in the next couple of months to challenge at least what the California Fish and Game Commission has done in listing the wolf. And if that's successful, then that would, I think, be the first step towards bringing a little more balance into wolf management.
I'm going to save this article, Damien, and also your number, and I hope you'll consent to coming back on the program and giving us an update in the future.
I would be very happy to. I always appreciate the chance to chat with you and your listeners.
Thank you very much. Damien Schiff, Principal Attorney with the Pacific Legal Foundation, and I thank you, sir. God's blessings. Thank you very much. There again, another state, another area, another group of people, farmers and ranchers, having their livelihoods literally eaten up because of the reintroduction of a species that doesn't belong here anyway. It's a killer. And the environmentalists with their deep pockets and their stupidity, and government with their deep pockets, our money, and their stupidity, it's pretty hard to beat them. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I'll take your calls. I'd look forward to it. And while I'm waiting for your call that I know is coming in, I'm going to get the weather forecast on here real quick, and it's brought to you by Scarro's Meats. Don Scarrow, how are you? Good guy over there at 331 North Road, Jerome. You better believe it. Number to call, 324-7657. My goodness, the best in meat processing and ready to go. They change the way we eat, one delicious bite at a time. Everything they sell is guaranteed, and guaranteed delicious. Scarro's Meats. Right now, here's Gina with the weather.
We are not liking the weather today. Why? Well, because it's windy, it's snowy, and it's icy out there. Going to continue that way throughout the day. Winds out of the southwest right around 22 miles an hour, high of 34. Tonight, low of 27. More snow showers are in the forecast for tomorrow morning, and the winds are going to continue as well. High of 34 with an overnight low of 23. And then for Saturday, well, rain and snow showers mixed, accumulations of an inch or better, but the winds are going to be dying down, high of 36 with an overnight low of 29. Yesterday's high was 40, and the overnight low was 19. That is your weather for Zebra.
Thank you, Gina. Well done. And the meat at Scarrow's Meats, always delicious. 331 North Road, Jerome. Number to call, 324-7657. Yep, they are changing the way we eat, one delicious bite at a time. Give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. My dear friend Jack Euler is, and I hold Jack in the highest regard. I really do. I hope he's listening this morning. Nobody in the state of Idaho, and I mean this literally, nobody, maybe even in the Northwest, knows as much about the wolf reintroduction and the problems that have been incurred because of the wolf reintroduction and the bringing them from Canada down here to the United States. And maybe it's going to take other states to start suffering like we went through for many, many years to realize and appreciate the killers that they're bringing in. And then maybe the populaces of all those states will say, enough is enough. And basically to heck with the environmentalists, the endangered species, and the government. People's lives are at stake. Their livelihoods are at stake. And they shouldn't be subjected to this kind of treatment. I mean, in his article, he starts off his story, Damian Schiff, the attorney we just had on the air, dozens of lambs killed in a single night, aborted calves, chronically stressed cows. These destructive scenarios could await ranchers now in Northern California and all of their animals, thanks to the California Fish and Game Commission's indefensible move to list the gray wolf as endangered. One wolf, showed up in California and, we got to put him on the Endangered Species Act. My goodness. And look at the human suffering and all the mayhem. One wolf. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Give me a jingle on the landline. I would love to visit with you before we wrap things up for this morning. While I'm waiting for your call, I want to urge you, boy, today is a day that's indicative of getting into your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Holy smokes, traction tires. I'll bet you the old boy that hit the pole early this morning wished he'd had traction tires on. Anyway, all the different tread designs, and they've got the studded snow tires, and they've got the tire chains. You bet. Yeah, buddy. They've got all the best in tires for you. All the performance tires, all the passenger car tires, they've got it all. Along with the best in batteries. Yeah, we're not out of the cold yet. And make sure that you've got a good battery. If not, go in and they've got them right there at your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Along with the best in brake service, the best in front end alignments and shocks and struts. Yep, they can help you, and they will. The best in service with Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family in Paul, John on Poline in Twin Falls, and Randy on Overland in Burley. Your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Need a call. I tell you what happened earlier this morning. Excuse me for the cough. Normally, we get up early enough in the morning, and I kind of outline what I'm going to talk about every hour on the show and the different story segments and all that kind of stuff. Well, this morning, we couldn't do it. We didn't have any power. And Deanne and I learned the value of being prepared. We could not find one doggone flashlight in this entire house. And here she is in one part of the house. I'm in the other part of the house. Did you find one? No, not yet. Did you? No, we looked all over. Finally, we scavenged up one flashlight, and then we started looking for some others. But that is one of the main things I'm going to do the minute I'm off this program this morning, is get a box. And we're going to put this box in a place where it's not ever going to be moved. It's going to be here to eternity. And we're going to put flashlights, batteries, and other things in there so we know where they are. A guy on crutches, barefoot, looking around for a flashlight is an accident looking to go to Blue Shield for coverage. I'm not going to do that again, so we're going to be more prepared. But we got on the air about 3 minutes late this morning, and again, my thank yous go to Idaho Power. God bless them and their diligent work. Man, I thought, according to the girl up in Boise when I called her, I said, how long do you think we're going to be off the air? And she says, man, the way it looks, it's going to be quite a while. And they had to reset a poll and everything else. Well, they did a fantastic job. So my thank yous to Idaho Power for getting everything set up and back on the air. I mentioned earlier this morning, and I want to say it again, happy birthday wishes go out tomorrow to Jimmy Edwards, longtime listener of this program. And then also on Sunday, some people that mean a lot to Deanne and I in this program, and also the Lunch Bunch, etc. Jerry and Rose Voss. They're celebrating an anniversary on Sunday. So God bless them, and I hope it is a beautiful, wonderful day. Next Monday on the program, let's take a look at here real quick. We're going to have the open forum. It's Martin Luther King Jr. Day, as a matter of fact. And hold on a second, got a cough again. Excuse me. I hope I can get rid of that thing sometime by July. And then we're going to have Joe Messina on the program at 9:06, and he's going to be talking about the Muslim problem in America. At 9:30, the Alliance Defending Freedom, and Kerry Kupek always has great, great stories of interest. Then we're going to have at 10:06 our legislative update, and I believe it's going to be with Speaker of the House Scott Bedke on the program this next Monday, up there at the Boise legislative session for 2016. And at 10:30, back by popular demand with the Idaho Freedom Foundation, a gentleman that really was great on the air about a week or so ago, Fred Birnbaum. So he's going to be back again on Monday. All of this and more right here with Zeb at the Ranch, and we're on K-Bar 12:30 a.m. and then streaming live, zebbell.com, all over the universe. Yes, sirree, Bobby. And be sure to tune in again next Monday at 8:06. Wheels, thanks for everything. And remember, the way things were are the way things ought to be. See you Monday.